There's a federal law on the books that prohibits race from being a factor in an adoption. The Multi-Ethnic Placement Act, or MEPA, is intended to remove barriers to adopting children of color. Now, one major evangelical adoption agency wants the law changed. Bethany Christian Services says the law limits proper education of parents before a transracial adoption. That's because under the law, all adoptions must be treated the same, whether white parents are adopting white children or children of color. Following the death of George Floyd, there was an outcry from Bethany families who wanted help talking about race with their children. For now, parents who want more resources can attend optional trainings put on by Bethany or outside organizations like Be the Bridge.
From the very beginning, from jump, a white parent should have the tools and they should have the language and the understanding about how to help a child of color grow into a healthy racial identity, grow into a healthy sense of who God made them to be in all God made them to be.
Tiffany Hennis helps provide transracial adoption training at Be the Bridge. She's also Asian American and was adopted by a white family.
What really strikes me when I think back over my life is that my parents tried to encourage me to have a positive identity, but they didn't know some of the things that were in the environment around us that was teaching me to hate the Chinese or Asian part of myself, because that's what made me different. That's what made me different from my family.
Hennis says that while her family did their best, she feels their colorblind philosophy was short-sighted.
I could not educate them at 4 years old or 8 years old or 16 years old. I only knew, I only knew so much. So if my parents had had some training, if they had had relationships with Asian Americans who were helping them understand the context of some of the comments or the jokes they would have been able to be proactive as parents to help guide me through those things.
Still, not everyone in the adoption community agrees this kind of special training should be required.
You want to learn more, so that's kind of a natural thing. You don't need an agency to force you into this. This is it's the natural curiosity because you want to know how best to parent that child.
Ryan Baumberger, co-founder of the Radiance Foundation, was also raised in a transracial home. Adopted in 1971, his parents defied restrictions about Black children being placed with white families.
They understood that they were called to love, first and foremost. They didn't set out to adopt a Black child, a Vietnamese child, a Native American. They just wanted to adopt those that the world said would be unwanted and unloved.
Statistically, there are more Black children languishing in foster care than there are Black families volunteering to adopt them. Baumberger is concerned Bethany's desire to not only consider race in adoption, but also assess prospective parents, will act as a barrier to white families, which he says could make it nearly impossible for them to adopt children of color.
I have a lot of parents who've come up to me in all the events that the Radiance Foundation does across the country, and they have been dissuaded from adopting simply because they're white or because they don't have a certain quota of Black friends or a certain quota of Asian friends. And that, to me, is really destructive.
Other critics claim Bethany is bowing to the woke movement, being influenced by critical race theory, and shifting towards the left. In a statement to CBN News, Bethany said it will continue to celebrate transracial adoptions and that what they're trying to do is, quote, equip families who are adopting transracially to understand their adoptive children and support them as they develop a sense of who they are. Hennis says she's focused on those who want to listen and learn because she knows all too well what's at stake.
You can discredit or not listen or whatever because it's a woke movement thing, but I'm a person who is trying to understand who God made me to be and how come I experience the world this way and what my place is here. And that's really what it comes down to.
Bethany is calling for all U.S. child welfare policies to be updated to ensure all children in the system reach an equal outcome. Caitlin Burke, CBN.